Okay, sorry for the 5-minute delay. I was wrapping up the last class, guys, and this class is going to be a continuation from the last hour, in which we were reading an article from Pocket Cultures, which was about naming children, so different traditions in different countries on how people pick baby names or how they choose to change their name when they get married. And this class is going to be a continuation from that last class. I can see that there were a few reservations for this class. For all the students who made reservations, now is the time to join, okay? Reservations get you the first 2 minutes of class. So you have a spot reserved for you in the first 2 minutes of class. If you don't join by then the reservation, you lose your reservation, and it opens up for all the other students who are watching. I know there are a couple of students who are having internet issues. Ahmad is having internet issues. He's stealing internet from his neighbors. This is what happens when you steal internet, Ahmad. You need to get your own internet, okay? And Hamid is traveling. So Hamid will be back with us next week once he is back home with good internet. Right? So right now in class we have Hasina and Muna. Can you guys hear me? Hasina? Hasina?
Yes, hi.
Hi, how are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
Is this your first time on Verbling?
Not on Verbling, but on your session.
In my class. That's awesome. Really nice to have you join us. And
Thank you.
You're welcome. And we also have Muna. Muna, can you hear me? Muna, I can see you. Talk to me. No? Muna doesn't want to talk. Muna's like totally quiet. Some people are having, I don't have a webcam. You don't have to have a webcam to join. So all the students who are hesitant to join because they don't have a webcam, that's okay. You don't need a webcam to join. You just need a good microphone, okay? This is a reading class. So basically you would need to be able to see, to see your screen and be able to talk. Microphones are mandatory, not so much camera. If you have a camera and you want to turn it on, that's awesome. But if you don't have one, then you shouldn't hesitate to join class. Oh, Alberto, you have to. Okay, Alberto, you're not ugly, okay? You're very beautiful. You're a very handsome man. Okay, Alberto, join class. All right, let's see. So we have quite a few students from the previous class. Nice to see Blanca, David, Jarno, and Norbert and Rahim join us back. So we'll get the new students to introduce themselves and tell us a little bit about their name, so where their name comes from, okay? So welcome everyone, all those who are new, first time on Verbling or first time in my class. Really nice to have you join us. My name is Hina. I am your teacher for this hour, and we are going to be reading an article, continue to read an article that we started reading in the last class about a traditional naming styles, so naming children and changing your name when you get married, all that stuff. So I mentioned in the last class that my name is actually very similar to an Indian name, an Indian word called henna or Hina, depending on how you say it, and it's that design that people put on their hands. So my name Hina is derived from that name. Okay, so let's get Best Smiles. Hi, Best Smiles.
Hi, hello, Hina.
How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. It's good to be in your class.
It's really nice to have you join us as well. So do you want to introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about your name?
Good. Okay. Well, it's not my real name, but it's Best Miles. It's a username only. I'm from. Okay. It's not a real name.
I actually always wondered. I'm like, is your real name Best Miles? Who else used to wonder that? Was it just me? I was like, because I hear it as Best and then Miles, like.
Yeah, you know, something like that. We're combining two words.
So what's your real name, Best Smiles, and what does it mean?
Well, my real name is Frank. I'm from Ecuador. What else? I am studying English because it's a really important language. So that's why I'm here, to improve it.
So your real name is Frank?
Yes.
What does Frank mean in your language?
Nothing. Nothing
Nothing?
special. It's
Okay.
just a name.
Does everybody know what Frank means in English?
Like honest,
No.
something like that.
No?
Honest?
Frank? Honest,
Honest?
exactly. So when you say frankly speaking, okay?
Honestly speaking.
Exactly. So frank in English means to be honest. So it's like, oh, I'm being frank with you, meaning I am being straight with you, I am being honest with you. I'm not sugarcoating what I'm saying, okay? Sugarcoating, what does that mean? Sugarcoating.
I am frank all the time.
You're frank all the time. Frank is frank all the time, so he's honest. So to be frank means to not sugarcoat. Sugarcoat means to use like rosy language, like, oh no, it's not that I don't want you to come with me. It's just I think you won't have fun. So basically, you're saying I don't want you going with me, so stay here. But you're sugarcoating it. You're using rosy language because you don't want to hurt the other person's feelings, right? So when you're frank, you do not use rosy language. You do not sugarcoat. You're honest. You're like, listen, I don't want you going on this trip with me. I'm being frank. Okay? So now, Frank, now you know what your name means. So you can't say it means nothing. Now you know it means to be honest.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Next we have Hasina.
Yes.
Hi, Hasina. Do you want to introduce yourself and tell us what your name means in your language?
Okay, I am Hasina from Algeria, and I am an Arabic girl, and Hasina in Arabic means, look, there is in Arabic Hasna, and Hasna means beautiful.
Beautiful, yes.
Yes.
I'm very familiar.
And then we have Hasina, and Hasina, it's like the most beautiful.
So basically it's referring to beauty.
Yes,
and
that's it.
So it's an Arabic name in South Asia and like countries like India and Pakistan. It means exactly the same thing. So Hasina means someone who's very beautiful in that part of the world as well. So it's not just an Arabic name.
I see. Okay. I didn't know that.
Awesome. Now you know. So awesome. Thank you, Hasina. Next we have Pablo. Pablo, can you hear us? Oh, you're muted,
yes.
Pablo. Yeah, okay, go ahead.
Hello. Hello. How are you?
Hello. I'm fine. How are you?
I'm fine.
Okay. Do you wanna introduce yourself?
Yes. Yeah. Yes. I'm from Argentine. 31 years old. Nothing much to say.
What does your name mean, Pablo?
I don't know.
Okay. All right. So that's all right. If you don't know what your name means, that's okay. We'll come up with what your name means later on.
Right.
And thanks, Pablo. Welcome to class. And we also have Abdullah. Abdullah,
Hi.
same Abdullah from last time. Yes, same Abdullah from last time. It means
long time no see. Yeah.
Servant of God. Servant of God. Something
That's
like that, right?
Yeah.
There we go.
Right.
Awesome. Your screen went black, so I wasn't sure if it was you or not. Okay, awesome. All right, so welcome everyone, all the people. So the other students who we're not going to go through joined us in class last time. I remember what all your names mean, so you don't have to tell me again because I'm just awesome like that. And we have Alina who just joined us.
Hi.
Hi, Alina. Welcome.
My name is Alina, and thank you. And I'm from Russia. And I heard you telling about your names, and so my name is not Russian. It's a question.
Sorry, sorry, your voice broke up. What did you say?
It means calm.
Calm. Okay. Calm and serene. Does everybody know what that means?
I told you that my name is not Russian. Yeah.
It's Russian, yes. All right, perfect. Thank you so much. Is this your first time on Verbling, Alina?
I know what means calm. I just want to know what means serene.
Serene means calm as well. So serene means something that is peaceful.
No, it's not my first time, but it's my first time with you.
Okay, perfect. So really nice to have you join us. Welcome. Okay, so let's see. I think we've gone through everybody's names. So like I said, we are going to be reading an article, and we're going to continue reading from where we left off in the last class. So I'm posting the link in the Verbling chat. Some people's Verbling chat is not working, so I'm going to post it in Google chat as well. Okay? Let me share my screen so you guys can see it. Okay? And you guys don't have to read from my little icon. You can continue reading from your own screens. All right? I'm just sharing it so everybody can know where we are. So let's see. We had a couple of students in the last class who didn't get the opportunity to read. So let's start with them. So Blanca, can I get you to read all of Canada?
Canada. Okay.
Yes.
See? In my family, first names are chosen based on preference. For example, my sister Casey was named after Cassie.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, was named after a favorite character of my mom's, and my name, Kelly, was easy no matter if I came out a girl or a boy. And we have whole baby name, books to look through and find the perfect name, along with its original and meaning.
Origin and
meaning. Kelly is Gaelic and means warrior.
Gaelic. Yeah.
We are also given middle names. Through no spoken or written rule, these honor family members. There is no rhyme or reason, but it is done with respect and love. My mother's middle name was her mother's first. My father's middle name was his father's first. I share my middle name, Mary, with my paternal grandmother and my niece.
Mm-hmm.
I plan to name my first daughter using the middle names of my maternal grandmother and my sister. Our last names, as it is the legal process in Canada, are taken from your father. In my family, these have been legally changed to take on the mother's or stepfather's surname, if this is where the true love and connection lies.
Perfect. Thank you so much for reading that for us, Blanca. So pretty straightforward in Canada. So first names are based on preference. What is preference?
Likes,
basically. Yeah, exactly. Your preference is what you like. So I prefer chocolate ice cream over vanilla ice cream, for example. So I like it over the other. So preference is basically what you like. Your taste. Exactly, your taste. Another way of saying it is your taste. Okay? So they're named on preference. So Cassie is a girl's name. Kelly can be a boy and a girl's name in Canada. Okay, so this is what she's saying. And my name was easy no matter if I came out a girl or a boy. Okay, so Kelly, a guy can be named Kelly as well, though it's very rare. I think if a guy is named Kelly, sorry, Norbert?
I just said it's weird.
It's weird, right? What are some popular guy Kellys that you know? Ooh, does anybody know of this one? I'm writing it in Verbling chat.
R. Kelly.
R. Kelly. He's a rapper.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, R. Kelly. He's a rapper. So his name is Kelly, and he's a guy. Okay. So so her name, this person who wrote this article, her name is Kelly. So there's a baby name books. Did anybody's parents use a book to name them?
Yes.
Yes. Who said yes? Very lightly. Blanca. our Whitey. Our Whitey.
Okay.
So what were the names that they liked, that they shortlisted? Kelly Brook.
Sorry?
So your parents, they went through a baby book name? A name of baby?
No, not my parents, but my relatives and friends and people I know.
Okay, so they went through a book to name the babies.
Yes, it's very common.
Yeah, I think it'd be really confusing. Does anybody watch Friends? Friends,
Yes.
the TV show? Has anybody seen? There's an episode in which Monica and Chandler are going to name their baby, and Chandler doesn't know what to. No, wait. Phoebe gets pregnant with those triplets, and then she has to name the triplets, and she doesn't know what to name them, and so she goes to a book of baby names. And then what does she end up naming? She ends up naming a girl Chandler. Does everybody remember that?
Yeah.
So Phoebe had to use a big book of baby names because she didn't know what to name the kids that she was having. Okay. So people go through to find the perfect name with its origin and meaning. Kelly is Gaelic. What does this mean? Gaelic.
Gaelic is an ancient France.
It's from Celtic? Celts?
Celtic, yeah. Where's our Finnish? We have a Finnish in class. Jarno, tell us what Gaelic means. Jarno, can you hear me?
Jarno went. No, he will be right back.
Oh, okay, all right. So Gaelic, I don't want to be like, I don't want to mislead you guys, but it has to do something with Celtic as well. Okay, so like that part of the world, Scandinavia. Everybody know what Scandinavia is?
Yeah.
Yes.
Scandinavia, yeah. So Scandinavia is like basically Northern Europe. So you have Sweden, Finland, Denmark, Iceland, and Norway. So these 5 countries make Scandinavia. So things that kind of find their roots and ancestry in that part of the world, these are words to describe them. Okay. So when Jarno gets back, we'll ask him what Gaelic means. I feel like he can tell us a little more accurately than I can. So it's basically a tradition. Okay. So, and in Gaelic, that means warrior. Through no spoken or written rule, these honors, so you're also given middle names to honor your family members. So again, how would you say? We learned a word to do this. So when you honor a family members, you are paying what?
How much?
Yeah, exactly. So you are paying homage to the family member. Okay? Ooh, Raheem, I'm going to mute you. You can attend your phone. That's cool. Okay. There is no rhyme or reason. Who has heard this expression before?
I've heard this expression in Scorpion's song.
Okay. In Scorpion's song?
Yes.
Which one?
Love them or leave them.
Oh, okay. I like their song "Rock You Like a Hurricane." So what? Okay. So then tell us, Elena, what does rhyme or reason mean?
There is no rhyme or reason. That's with no reason.
Exactly. Yeah. Go ahead, Abdullah. Yeah.
No, it's okay. All right.
Yeah.
She said it already. Yeah.
Yeah. Basically, no rhyme or reason means no reason at all. Okay. So this is an expression that we use to emphasize the fact that there is basically no reason for why we honor our family members, but we just do it. Okay. So there's no rhyme or reason, but it is done with respect and love. So we have Jarno who is back. Jarno, we were wondering, what does Gaelic mean? And is it something that comes from Scandinavia?
A pretty good question. I'm not sure. Maybe Wikipedia would show the answer.
All right, but I'm pretty sure. So Alberto actually answered. In Scandinavia were Vikings. Celtics were in Central Europe. Gaelic comes from Scotland. So yeah, so it's that. So it's a European tradition or custom, and these are different customs that are followed in that part of the world. So Gaelic is one of those customs. Okay, so our last names, as is the legal process in Canada, are taken from your father. Which is, I think that's the way it is in most of the world. I want to ask you guys, I share my middle name with my paternal grandmother. What does paternal mean?
Paternal means, well, my paternal grandmother would be the mom of my dad.
Yeah, so basically from the father's side.
Yeah.
Okay, so anything, yeah.
And maternal would be the opposite.
Exactly.
The mom of my mom.
Yeah, exactly. So, and it doesn't only have to be paternal grandmother or grandfather. You can have a paternal cousin, a paternal uncle, a paternal aunt, and same thing, my maternal aunt or my maternal uncle. So maternal, M, means from the mother's side. Paternal means from the father's side. Okay? So this person is saying that she shares her middle name with her paternal grandmother. So her father's mother was also named Maria. Okay. Though in my family, so she's saying that in Canada, your last name is taken from your dad. Surname. Surname is another way of saying last name. Okay. So for example, Norbert's surname is Pap. It's also his last name. Okay. So there are two different ways of saying the same thing. Okay. So first name, Norbert, last name, Pap. also your surname. Okay, so when you say Mr. Pap, so you're using his last name. Norbert's laughing. He's like, "That's my dad. Don't call me Mr. Pap."
No, I'm laughing because I never used Mr.
You're not very good, Mr. Well, this is respect. So if somebody older was referring to you, they wouldn't say, "Hey, Norbert." They'd say Mr. Pap, right? So there you go. So surname, basically the same thing as last name. Okay. Any questions about Canada? I think it's pretty straightforward. No? Everything's good? Okay, perfect. Let's go on to David. Let's get you to read Costa Rica.
Costa Rica.
Yeah, can I get you to read the first 2 paragraphs?
Okay.
Yeah.
In Costa Rica, many years ago, it was common for children to get 3 or 4 names, and it was custom to make children after their corresponding saints.
Corresponding
saints, depending on the day they were born. Parents used to look at the calendar of saints and would choose that name for one of the several children would get. Being so, there were names such as Juan José de Los Ángeles or María del Carmen. My mom comes from a big family where there were 7 women and 3 men.
Holy. Oh. Poor men. I feel bad for the men. Okay, go ahead.
All the girls were named Maria, but they received another name in order to differentiate them. María Jovita, María Gema, María Teresa, María Leocadia, María Rita, María Catalina, and María de las Angustias. All the names used at that time were Spanish, and many, if not all, made reference to religious characters or saints. José, María, Jesús, Pilar, Juan, Isabel, Daniel, Carmen, and Lorenzo, among others.
Perfect. Thank you, David. So does anybody know, is anybody named after a saint? In class? Was anybody named after a saint? Or do you know anybody who was named? Yeah, go ahead, Norbert.
I read about when I saw my name, meaning there was Saint Norbert or something like that, but I don't know who is that.
Ooh, Saint Norbert. That'd be cool. You do a class on Saint Norbert. Norbert comes in with dressed like a pope. So we have so that's very common to name yourself after a saint. So for example, if you wanted, technically you could name a person Valentine, right? So because Valentine's Day is named after Saint Valentine. Okay. A couple of popular saints that I know are Saint John. Okay. What other ones do you guys know? Saint John is a popular one.
Saint Peter.
Saint Peter, yeah.
Saint Paul.
Saint Paul, yeah.
Saint Peter, Saint Paul. So if you believe or if you follow one of these saints, or if you believe that they are good luck, or I'm not too familiar with the Catholic faith. I believe this is where it comes from. But if you believe in them or if you follow them, then if you pay homage to the saint, you would name your child after them. Okay, your child wouldn't be called Saint. If Norbert is named after a saint, his actual name is not Saint Norbert. He's just named Norbert to pay homage to that saint. Okay, Saint Nicholas, Saint George. So exactly, and not everybody who is named this is named after a saint. Some people just like the name George or just like the name Paul. But a lot of times, if you are named after a saint, then your parents, they usually tell you that you were named after a saint. Okay, so it seems very interesting. Who thinks it's who thinks it's a good idea to name your children like this, in the way they name in Costa Rica? So this Maria example. Would you name your kids like that? Yeah, go ahead.
There are lots of Marias in the world.
Oh my God, yes. There are at least a billion Marias.
Yes, in Spanish it's a very, very common. Usually it is combined, it's mixed with another name. It's Maria with something else.
So just like it says in the article that you name all your daughters Maria, and in order to differentiate, what does this mean? Differentiate.
Mark any difference between them.
Yeah, to tell the difference. Not mark the difference, to tell the difference. So in order to tell the difference between your 7 daughters named Maria, you give them a second name. So you can differentiate, like not like Maria, oh, which one? Oh, Maria Jovita or Gemma. I'm not too sure.
But I don't understand why Maria.
Why Maria?
Maria Teresa.
I mean, there are 7 children, why everyone Maria? So
that's what they're saying. It was custom to name children after their corresponding saints. So what is a corresponding saint?
It means to have the same name.
Sorry,
they was born some specific day, the same day they was born.
Yeah, exactly. So say, Norbert, that somebody is born on 14th February, and the saint for that day is Saint Valentine. So you would name it Saint Valentine, right? And if you actually believe in Saint Valentine, and if you actually think that, you know, what he did was a noble cause, and you want to pass that on to your children, then you could name all of your children Valentine. And then you, in order to tell the difference among them, you would give them second names. Okay? The corresponding saint, so the saint that you were named after, depending on the day they were born. Okay? Parents used to look at the calendar of saints. Has anybody ever seen this or heard of this?
Yes.
Calendar of saints? Yeah, Blanca?
Yes, I've heard. It was a tradition in Russia about 2 or more, even 100 years ago, to name babies after the calendar of saints.
Okay. And Blanca, do they still use it in Mexico?
Yes, every single calendar has the name of the saint in the part below. You know, the day and an important date, but the name of the saint is in the part below. So you can see today is Saint John, Saint Paul. You know, always the name of the saint is below.
Oh, okay, all right. That's pretty interesting. So is it more religious or is it more cultural?
I think religious, because of the Catholic religion. Okay,
so this is a convention that is followed in Catholic religion, in Catholic sect of Christianity. So I'm actually surprised as well. Why would you name all your daughters Maria? But if you want, you know, uniformity, so if you know what uniformity is, uniformity. To have everything the same, to be fair and to be the same everywhere, then I guess you would name your daughters all Maria and then give them a second name to differentiate. Okay. So all these names are Spanish and made reference to religious characters or saints. Okay, so we can see that the Catholic faith has a big influence in Costa Rica. Like your children are named after saints. So you can see that there's a big influence of the religion there. Okay, any other questions before we move on? Okay. Abdullah, can I get you to read the next 2 paragraphs? So these 2. Years passed. Yeah, years passed and the naming.
No. Okay. No, yeah. Years passed and the naming traditions started to change. When I was born, I got 2 names, as did my sisters. The 3 of us received Spanish names, but other children got English names such as Carol, Alexander, Catherine, and Johnny. It is very interesting to notice how, through time, the middle names have disappeared. It is now very common to give children only one name. My niece is called Tamara, and my nephew Felipe or Philippe. Okay. Middle names aren't that common anymore. In fact, children nowadays would be really surprised if they were told that their grandparents used to have 3 or more names. Something that was common and continues to be so in some families is to name children after their parents, uncles, or even grandparents, to continue with the same names generation after generation. In that case, when asking about someone in a family with such tradition, you would need to specify which Carlos or Ana you refer to.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Abdullah. Okay,
Welcome.
so in Costa Rica, there was a big tradition to name children with first name, middle name, and last name, but now that tradition has disappeared. Okay, so now a lot of children have English names, just Carol, Alexander. Does anybody, what do you guys think, what's your opinion about middle names? Do you think they have a function, or are they just something that people have been doing because it's traditional? Or do you think they have a function? Giving your child a middle name. Go ahead, Abdullah, and then Norbert.
Well, actually, in Turkey, they named it after their grandparents too in the past, but nowadays they do not name it. So the tradition has changed and disappeared. So they try to give the babies modern names.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And Norbert?
I think actually in Hungary you have an opportunity to use that name what you want. For example, if maybe I would have David to middle name, Norbert Pop, no, Norbert David Pop. Yes, maybe I can use just the David, so David Pop, and I won't use Norbert.
Yeah, and that's usually what a lot of people do. Like they either use one name or the other. They'll either use their middle name or their first name. And the point of middle names has been, it's the traditional thing to do. So you are paying respect to the elders, the grandparents, so you give your child a middle name. But now that tradition, it's dying off, and not that many people have middle, at least, I mean, people still have middle names nowadays, but more and more people choose to not give their child middle names if they don't have to. Okay? And it can get confusing as well, right? Like a lot of times, for example, at a company that I used to work at, they only had the field, like they only had first name and last name, okay? So if I chose to put in my middle name, then in the company directory, my middle name was not present. So nobody knew my middle name, okay? It's a different story that I don't have a middle name, but I had friends who had issues because they would use their middle name as their first name, and in the company directory, the first name was different. So it can get a little confusing. So to cancel out all that confusion, people just give them one first name and a last name. Okay? Any words over here that are unclear? In fact, something that was common is to name after their parents, uncles, or even grandparents, again, to pay respect. Okay, so you can see that this is a big part of tradition in a lot of countries, to name your children after parents or grandparents. So let's finish off reading Costa Rica. Pablo.
Yes.
Can I get you to read from here all the way till the end? So the last two paragraphs.
Something that was common, right?
Oh no, because of the great influence. So the next paragraph.
Because of the great influence Costa Rica has had from the United States in the last years, it has become really common to use English names instead of Spanish ones. However, the last names remain in Spanish for obvious reasons. As a university professor, I have come across a good variety of student names. What is even more interesting is that some people spell the English names the way they sound in Spanish. So at the end, the names are a mixture of both Spanglish. Some of the most interesting examples are Stacy Alfaro, Steven Campos, Mary Chavez, Michael Ramirez, Jean-Paul Jimenez, Jean Carlos Fernandez. In addition, there have been naming fashions as well, based on famous people such as Pope Jean Paul II, singers like Luis Miguel, and others from soap operas and movies.
Perfect.
That happened in Argentina too.
They happen in Argentina as well?
Yes. Jennifer Ramirez, Jonathan Lopez.
I was going to ask, you have a lot of Jennifer Lopez's? Yes. Jennifer Lopez. Okay.
It was an example. It was the first example that came in my mind. But this is common in Argentina, but it sounds rare.
Sounds rare? Okay. And Pablo, I'm just going to say that this word, based. Can you say that? Based?
Yes.
Based on famous people. Perfect. Yeah, because you said based, so it's based. So you don't emphasize the ed as it's supposed to be a smooth sound. It's based. Okay, based on famous people such as Pope John Paul II, singers and actors and actresses, and so on and so forth. Okay, what is this? What does this mean? Spanglish. All the people from the Spanish-speaking countries. What is Spanglish?
It's a mix of Spanish and English.
Mixture of Spanish and English, yeah. This would be the most popular version. In people who are from, say, India, they say this. How would you say that? English.
English.
Yeah, because the language in India is Hindi, and a lot of words they use are from English now, so they say English. So Hindi and English. So basically, any language that you mix with English. So Spanish is a big one. So Spanglish. Okay, so some of these are pretty interesting names, Spanglish names. Okay, any questions for this about this section before we move on? Okay, if there's even in later time, you guys have any questions, you're more than welcome to ask me. All right. Let's move on to India. So we have Best Smiles.
Okay.
Can I get you to read this one?
Yes. What is a name that we call?
What's in a name? What's in a name?
What's in a name that which we call a rose by other name would smell as sweet? So wrote Shakespeare. It's obvious he was never in India, for there is a whole lot hidden in just a name. As in most countries, surnames in India are mostly
mostly derived
from the place we belong to or the profession of our ancestors. The only distinctive ones are those where the surname is actually the name of a
caste.
Okay. A concept unique to the subcontinent. Continue?
Yes, yeah, go ahead. The next paragraph as well.
A surname is something we are born with and have no choice over. So it would be more interesting to talk about the part that we do choose. The first name, aptly called, this is the first thing we think of when a child is born. In fact, we even decide the name before the child is born. As with everything in India, there are many traditional ways of choosing the name of the child. Let me give just a couple of examples from our family experience in naming children.
Experiences.
Okay, sorry.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Frank. Thank you so much, Frank.
Okay.
So, what's in a name that which we call a rose by any other name would smell as sweet? Okay, so that's what Shakespeare wrote, and basically that sentence, what do you guys think it means? Okay, it means that no matter what you name a person or what you say their name is, they will be who they are. Okay, so he's saying that your name is not that important. It doesn't determine who you are or what you do in life. But this person is saying that in India, there's a whole lot hidden in a name. Okay, so in most countries, surnames in India are mostly derived. What does this word mean? Derived.
Comes from.
It comes from, yeah.
Exactly. So in India, surnames mostly come from the place we belong to. Okay. Or the profession of our ancestors. So, for example, in North America, a very common last name is shoemaker or baker. These are actual last names of people. Can you tell what their ancestors did?
They were shoemakers.
Yeah, exactly. So somebody whose last name is Shoemaker, their ancestors used to make shoes like 200 years ago. That's where their ancestry is. Somebody whose last name is Baker, their ancestors used to be bakers. They had bakeries or they used to bake bread. So in India, it is still common to do that. All right. And in North America, you can find some people who have these names as well. Shoemakers, bakers, something about clothes. I can't remember it right now. Okay. The only distinctive ones. What is distinctive?
Like unique,
Different.
something like that.
It's unique, exactly. So the only unique ones, special ones, are those where the surname is actually the name of a caste. Is anybody familiar with the caste system?
Yes, I am.
Yeah. Alina, do you want to explain to us a little bit what the caste system is?
Yes, in India, the society was divided into castes, and we had higher castes, included priests, rulers of the country, and the little bit lower were military men, a little bit lower were men who sold. I don't know how to sell.
Like who are merchants? Who are merchants? For example, like they sold things in the market.
Yes, and the lower were people who worked on earth, famous.
Yeah.
And the lowest was caste untouched.
Untouchables.
Untouchable.
Yeah.
They won't be able even to drink from a well, and somebody from the higher caste
cannot touch them.
Cannot touch them, and should, for example, fill some cup or something and leave it on the well, and then untouchables took the cup and only then could drink.
Perfect. Yeah. Thank you so much, Alina. Alina, that's a very good explanation. So what Alina said, in India and in the subcontinent is the part of the world that is Pakistan, Bangladesh, India, Nepal. That part of the world is called the subcontinent. So there's a caste system. Basically, your caste, it's not a religious thing. For example, in Islam, you have like different sects. Okay. For example, there's the Shias, there's the Sunnis. So that's a religious sect. When you have a religious distinction, those are called sects. But when you have a social distinction, so a caste system is a social distinction, basically how rich and how poor you are. So if you are higher up in the caste, then you are somebody who is rich, who is, who has fame, who has money. But the lower that you go in the caste, the lower your job becomes in Indian standards, like in standards of the subcontinent. So for example, servants are considered to be the lowest caste. People who are farmers are considered to be lowest caste. And then the lowest caste in India is called the untouchables. Basically, if somebody from a higher up caste, they cannot interact with the untouchables. Like you cannot touch them. If you do, then people think that they have become unholy. What do you mean by unholy?
I'm not saint.
You're not clean anymore. So in India, your caste determines your last name. Okay? So for example, if in India you were like a farmer, then your last name would be that of a farmer. So it would say whatever farmer. Okay? If you were an untouchable, that's what your last name would be as well, that you are an untouchable. So your caste determined what last name you were given. Okay? And it's actually in a lot of parts of rural India. What is rural India?
Countryside?
Villages. Yeah, countryside, villages. So basically not cities. In a lot of rural India, this is still followed. This is still the convention where your caste determines what your name is. Okay? So it's who thinks this is sort of dark times, ancient times. Okay, dark ages.
I think, and I know that people couldn't change caste during their lives.
Yeah, you cannot change your caste. That's right. Go ahead.
And you can't marry a person from other caste.
Exactly, yeah.
And
So this is something from the dark ages where people used to live 500 years ago. Elena, go ahead.
actually, a person could change a caste if he had a good life this life, then in next life he will be in the higher caste. If he was a bad person, he will be in the lower caste.
Yeah, exactly. So this is not something that is religious. It's very, very social. It's very cultural. And in the cities in India, it's not like that anymore, but it still is like this in the villages. Okay? So like it said, your surname is something you were born with. Okay? So you're born with your surname. You're born into a caste. So it would be more interesting to talk about the part that we do choose the first name. Aptly called. What does it mean, aptly, this word?
Comes from aptitude, maybe? No?
No, it's appropriately.
Okay.
Who knows what appropriately means?
Correct, maybe?
Yeah, exactly, correctly. So correctly called, this is the first thing we think of when a child is born. Okay? So they're saying the first name. So first name, first thing you think of. Alright? So they're saying that appropriately named, your first name is the first thing you think of when you have a child. Okay? So we decide the name of the child before it is even born. Who does this in their culture or in their country? That you obsess over the name of your child and your child isn't even born yet. Who does this? Does anybody know anybody who's done this?
I think that most of the people do that.
Now, most of the people do that? Blanca, what about you?
Not me. No,
Not you?
no. But yes, I know some few people.
Okay, my parents did that with my sister. So my sister, when my mother was pregnant, for 9 months, my parents, all they spoke about were baby names. Like, what are we going? That's all they spoke about for 9 months. and then they had a short list of boy names and girl names because they didn't know what it was going to be. And then when my sister was born, it was like, okay, so here's the list of girls' names. What do we want to call her? So for 9 months, that's all I heard. Baby names and baby books, and it was overbearing. So I know people who have done this as well. Okay, so they decide the child name before it's even born. There are many traditional ways of choosing the name of a child. All right, so let's read what some of these traditional ways are. Alina, can I get you to read the next 2 paragraphs, please?
Okay, I will. The most common system is that using family names. This means that the first male child is named after the paternal grandfather, the second male child after the maternal grandfather, and so on, with the girls being named after their paternal and maternal grandmothers. Imagine the confusion this causes, with many children having the same name. In addition to this, in southern India, a father's name is used as a surname. What ensues is total chaos. Chaos. My husband's name is Shankar. He has been named after his grandfather, who used to be called Shankar Iyer. Iyer used to be our traditional appellation based on our caste. We left it off in the last generation, being opposed to a caste-based nomenclature. My father's nomenclature. Nomenclature. My father-in-law's name is Yaram. So he is Yaram Shankar, and my husband is Shankar Yaram. Their identities confound everyone. Identities confound everyone from our postman to the bank and even our passport office. This is why we decided to nip the situation in the bud and named our son Samnit, a word from our holy books, the Vedas.
Perfect. Thank you so much for reading that for us, Elena. Okay, so a lot of cool new vocabulary that we've covered here. Who thinks this is an amazingly confusing way of naming your children?
Me.
This is so confusing.
Yeah.
I would not want to make my children go through this where it's like, okay, so in India, you remember how we spoke that in other parts of the world, when you name your child, you give them a middle name to pay homage to your grandmother or grandfather. But in India, you always name your child after the grandmother or the grandfather. It's not to pay respect or to pay honor. That's just what the tradition is of naming your child. So you have a lot of children so a lot of cousins have the same name, right? So if one brother has a son, he names that son after the father. The other brother has a son, he also names that son after the father. So you have a lot of cousins that have the same name. You have a lot of children that have the same name. Okay? Imagine the confusion this causes with many children having the same name. In addition to this, in southern India, a father's name is used as a surname, what ensues is total chaos. What does this mean? What ensues is total chaos. What is this?
It leads to chaos?
Perfect, yes. So chaos is basically a state of unrest. So basically when things go crazy. So to ensue, to follow, or to lead to. Okay? So what is the sentence saying? What leads to chaos? Okay. So you're saying that in India, you put your father's first name as your son's last name, and this is so confusing that the only thing that follows is confusion and chaos, where everybody is named Shankar. So look at this example. So you have Shankar Jayaram, Jayaram Shankar. So this is crazy. The father's first name is Jayaram, and then this first name becomes this guy's last name. So it's really confusing. So this is what causes chaos. Okay. I used to be a traditional appellation. What is appellation?
Appellation.
Okay. The appellation means the act of calling someone by a name. Okay. So the whole tradition of saying, my name is Hina, your name is Norbert, your name is Abdullah, this is appellation. Okay. So this convention of naming people so you can address them as something is appellation. So Iyer used to be our traditional appellation. So this used to be their traditional naming structure. Everybody was named Iyer based on our caste. Okay? We left it off in the last generation being opposed to a caste-based nomenclature. What is nomenclature?
It's the process of naming somebody.
Exactly. Nomenclature is the process of giving name. This is a very scientific word. For example, when you have, humans. What is the scientific name of humans?
Homo sapiens?
Yeah, so Homo sapiens. That's okay. So Homo sapiens. This is the nomenclature for naming humans. Homo sapiens, right? So Homo is our species and sapiens is our group, or the other way around. So group and species. So this is called nomenclature. How do you name something? For example, a dog is not a nomenclature. Dog is basically a general word that we use for calling an animal. That is the dog, right? Canis, canis. All right, so there we go. So the way that you name a dog, Canis, canis, that is the nomenclature. That is the species and the genus name. So that's scientific way of naming stuff. Okay? So they're saying that how they used to name was based on caste. So they left that behind because they were opposed. They were against caste-based nomenclature. So they did not support the fact that people were named because of their caste. Okay? So my father-in-law's names, this is really confusing. Their identities confound everyone. What does that mean? Confound. Just based on the word, what do you guys think it means? So if you have two people and their name is Jayaram Shankar and Shankar Jayaram, Norbert said it. Norbert, how do you feel reading that? Norbert? Are you confused?
Yeah.
Yes? All right. So there we go. So identities confound. Confound means to surprise and confuse. Okay? So it's like, oh, wait, your name is Shankar, but your dad's name is also Shankar, and then your name is Jayaram, and then your dad, wait, what? So this is to be confounded. All right? So to be confounded, to be surprised, and to be confused. So their identities surprise and confuse everyone. So that is why they decided. So okay, who can tell me what this means? Nip the situation in the bud and name our son Samhit. What does this mean? Nip the situation in the bud.
To take the chance, maybe? No?
No? So to have
No,
to
it's
plan
kind of
to plan
stop
ahead.
the situation and change it.
Exactly. So to plan ahead. So they're like, okay, nip in the bun. To nip in the bun? In the bud. Sorry, so to nip in the bud is to plan ahead. So they're like, okay, we are going to have a son and we do not want this confusion. This Jayaram Shankar, Shankar Jayaram, I do not want this. So when our son is born, we are going to name him Samhit. All right? We are not going to get caught up in all these confusing nomenclature and this appellation of, oh, grandfather and son and grandson and all that. So we are planning ahead. We are going to nip the situation in the bud and name our son Samhit. Okay? So it's basically to plan ahead, to have foresight for something that is going to happen so you do not get caught up in confusion. Okay? Is that clear? Do you guys understand what it means to nip in the bud?
Yeah.
Okay? So the expression is to nip in the bud. And you can say to nip the situation in the bud. Okay? Pablo. Oh, Pablo is writing what it is in Spanish. For all our Spanish students, that's what I hope it's right because David is laughing. David, is it correct? David, is it right? He's like, yeah, that's right. That's right. Okay.
Very correct.
Is that right? Are you swearing in the chat box, Pablo? I wouldn't be able to tell. I wouldn't be able to tell. I don't read Spanish. Okay. All right. So that's actually the end of the hour. What did you guys think? Like, isn't it like amazing how in different parts of the world people name their children, how they like get their family name? It's really interesting. I
But
actually
we
always.
didn't cover Europe.
Sorry, Norbert.
We didn't cover Europe. Maybe that
Read
would
it.
be different.
Yeah, we can definitely. I can definitely continue reading this in another class. I can maybe for next week we can schedule the same class and we'll read Europe and we can talk about the differences between Europe and subcontinent and Latin America. All right. I always thought that the whole world did this thing where my name, my father's last name. That's it. When you get married, you change your name. And I was like, whoa, like this whole thing was very surprising for me. Okay. So, thank you so much, guys. It was really, really nice talking to you all and seeing everyone today. I have no words to thank you for the video. I was really, really touched. And I want to share it with everyone. I want to like post it all over the internet and be like, this is me. Thank you so much. And I'm actually going to be back in a couple of hours with a couple of more classes. So I'd love it if you guys join. Blanca, the next 2 classes have been scheduled for you and by your request. So I would love to see you there.
Okay, I'll do my best.
We're going to play 2 truths and a lie, and we're also going to talk about our favorite movies. So we're going to have 2 speaking classes coming up in a couple of hours. All right? So thank you, guys. It was really fun talking to you all, and I hope to see you soon. All right? Make sure you go on my Facebook and you leave suggestions for what classes you'd like, what you want me to schedule, what you thought of this class, and I'll be sure to schedule that. All right? But for now, right now, I'm out. Bye, everyone. Bye, best
Bye.
friends. Bye, friends.